Hospitals. A universal place of healing the world over. A place where the injured and afflicted may come for peace and healing. Of course in Fallout, they are a place of death. And for us, they are places of amusement, nonsense and fuckery. Places where I can look at the corpse of a person and laugh at what was likely an excruciating death. Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. Today we look at the Mass Bay Medical Center, smack dab by the coast. Let's gander. So as you can see, this hospital only adhered to the tightest of health and safety standards. Over 80% of the ceiling isn't on the floor. Impressive. Our first room of interest is the bathroom, which from right to left gets more and more disturbing. A pram with a teddy bear near it likely signifies the presence of a baby, but then again, maybe not, as this building actually gives us one later. In this stall we see possibly the strongest evidence to date that plungers are evil. I mean, look at this. It murdered this man, it likely drowned him in his own urine and feces, and centuries later is still squatting on his face, waiting for its next victim. To the right of the bathroom, we come to another possible entrance to the hospital, and the gunners have set up a shooting blind to defend it. This is common with many of the entrances, and shows off once again that they were very efficient about defense of their installations and camps, unlike most raider groups. Now we proceed up the stairs we passed at the start to get to the next floor. When we get to the top, it's clear that we can't go any further, as past discarded children's toys is a barricade that looks to be pre-war, as the gunners would not have impeded their own mobility like this. To the left of those stairs, we come to a ladder that looks to have been part of some pre-war maintenance. The door at the end leads to the theatre district, and is guarded by a now destroyed sentry. Next we head down the hall to get to the emergency section of the medical centre, and down the stairs to where I assume people were brought into the A&E. At the bottom, inside this elevator, we can find the skeletal remains of one such person. They were probably in the process of being brought up to the operating theatre. I assume the bombs took out the elevator and they died in here, or they were left in there and no one bothered their arse to move them. We find another body in the waiting area, a woman this time, and she seems to have died where she slept, or was standing. Neither is likely to have been very comfortable. Opposite her is a man who seems to have suffered the same fate. I know some people survived here, so I'm unsure whether these were pre- or post-war deaths. That barricade next to him, however, was post-war. The door behind the desk can serve as another entrance into the hospital. Back upstairs, we can get a look at some of these operating theatres. Funnily enough, these rooms are some of the dirtiest in the building, which is ironic as given pre-war, they would have had, we hope, a very high level of cleanliness. Unless of course the doctors here were dirty beasts. The first room of interest is this one on the right over here. It seems this person was in the middle of an operation, and there's fungus. Now, I don't know why the fungus is growing here, or what significance that has, but the implication makes me feel just a little bit uncomfortable. Opposite that room is this one with either a soldier or a gunner. Now, I know what you're thinking, it's too old to be a gunner. Maybe, and later on we find some information that might just prove that, but we cannot be sure, so for right now, I'm gonna leave the possibility on the table, just like their decaying corpse. The next room is a manifestation of my fear of mannequins. It's usually standing up holding a fag and a lighter, but something knocked it over. So based on the flamer, and that at least one of these corpses is quite a bit post-war, I think the gunners used this room to either dispose of all the remains or just prisoner ones. It is locked when we find it, likely because the mannequins started haunting the room, such as they do. Outside the emergency area, we turned into the section we previously passed. Here, it seems the gunners kept several prisoners in cages, with buckets to shit in, / drink from. Only problem is, there is another soldier here. This is where my confusion stems from. The gunners would not have been established when there were still soldiers, so this has to be a gunner prisoner, as it's the only thing that makes any sense. Through into the next room is a safe, and it can be accessed by this fine terminal. Outside that, the roof is fucked. It's just came down, made a convenient path for me, probably killed someone in the process too. I expect the gunners were probably occupying these beds, as it would be ridiculous if that was not the case. Up the ramp, and to the right, we come to a room filled with paintings of puppies and kittens. A nice room, full of warmth, and also the corpse of a child. Wait, what? Child, you say? Aye. A smaller than usual corpse with a Nuka-Cola truck toy. A rare sight normally, as Bethesda are very cautious about children's corpses in games about death and, nuclear destruction. For some reason. The adjacent room also has cute pictures in it, so I'm beginning to suspect that this was the children's ward. Which, now that I think about it... fuck. The room outside of this one seems to be another waiting room with broken elevators, which is becoming a very common sight here. In the corner, however, is a not so common sight. Yup, just drink that in. Drink in the desecrated toddler / baby skeleton with the giant head. Are you drinking it in? Good. I think the two corpses beside it are its parents. Also, all three of them have oversized heads. Just saying, it's creepy. Now, obviously some fucked up individual did this. I'm just not sure who. Some of the other corpses may also be posed. The guy in the middle definitely. I mean, the cigar has still managed not to fall out of his fingers. So, given the child, I would say this floor was definitely the children's wing. Now, up to the next one. This one is pretty empty and only contains the one corpse in the far corner. They had food near them when they died, so someone could have killed them, or it could have been radiation. The doors lead out to the train station, and are guarded by more of those weird metal statue women we see everywhere. One of them is missing an arm. Then it's into the elevator, and take it up, to take us to the last section. So for some reason Nick teleported in to stir us, or whatever the fuck it is he does. Anyway, this is the final section we need to look at. Now as you can see, this is a very wide and open area, which is where my confusion comes from. There's a reason you don't see many parts like this in hospitals. It's a waste of space, as much of this can be repurposed into more rooms or facilities. A person can be found over here with a drip of some description, though we don't know what it was for. Now the trees here mark this out as a relaxation or recovery area of sorts for the patients. It also seems like a vertibird or a gunship of sorts has come through the roof, and wrecked most of it and the room. The corpse of a soldier can be found up there, likely dying on impact. This could explain the presence of the other soldiers, as this one may have come to pick them up, before either the roof gave way under the craft's weight, or the bombs took them out. Up to the next floor is where you encountered the head gunner with power armor, and this particular camp was supplied well enough that they had the means to care for at least 2 suits of it. If we head up to the next floor, down the back, we find a more recent captive, a dead member of the Brotherhood, likely from one of the scouting parties that the gunners picked up. They are dead when we get here, so the gunners seem to have felt that they outlived their usefulness. Next, we come to another door, beside which another dead soldier is found, and I do believe it's a soldier this time. Opposite them is a woman with a teddy and a board game, which begs the question whether the teddy was meant to be the child she was playing the board game with. Food for thought. The next room has a lot going on in it, but we shall start by going into the room to the right, where we find Bonnie's holotape, the mother that was mentioned in West Everett Estates.
Wayne, I'm leaving this message with Marcy in case you come looking for me, though I pray you don't. The military took over the hospital, and everything's gone to hell in the city. Things here, it's bad, Wayne. People are dying every day, and most of the time all we can do is watch and try to make them comfortable. One of the other nurses told me she heard a radio signal that sounded like you and the boys. I don't know if it's true, if you're still out there, but we've got a way out, and I'm gonna try to find you.
So one of Bonnie's co-workers heard Wayne's message, and Bonnie set out to find them. We also learned that the soldiers were here in the hospital, which explains at least some of the corpses that we found. Now let's go see what in the name of fuck is going on with this skeleton. So yeah, it's gyrating, it's bumping, it's spinning. And it was not like this when I got here. You can get 2 high-powered magnets out of this machine, and it's clearly an MRI machine. The woman in it must have been post-war, as people in here survived, meaning something else happened that caused her to die and be left here. Taking the ramp in the previous room up, we come to the final floor. We find 2 corpses here. One is a man, and it seems they too had a drip. They appear to have also been going for a smoke when they died. Possibly they knew it would be their last smoke. The woman appears to have been sleeping when she died, which makes it possible that she was pre-war, and they died as they were so close to the roof. The elevator here takes us up to the roof, but there is nothing there of interest. So this was the Mass Bay Medical Center, a hospital right near the coast. In here worked Bonnie Turnquist, whatever, a wife of Wayne and mother of Michael and David. She left her holotape with one of her co-workers, Marcy. The reason for doing so was she heard Wayne's radio message and set out to look for him. She says the hospital was still up and running after the war, and up until she left, but that they didn't have the means to help many of the patients, and could only make them comfortable. This explains why some people are dead on gurneys or just lying in beds, despite the presence of the hospital staff. The military took up residence here at some point, and that may have been the reason Bonnie had trouble leaving, as a hospital is a valuable point to hold. Many of them seem to have died here, based on the corpses, and the final straw may have been the down craft in the garden-like area. After that, they may have dispersed and begun to leave. This may be why some of the patients are just dead in chairs, or the woman in the MRI machine, who they would not just leave there. The soldiers left, and looters or rioters got in and killed some people, while others died as the hospital staff all decided, fuck it, and just left, of their own accord. After some time, the gunners set up here. Like the military, they realized the strategic advantage a large and fortified building in a center location would afford, and so they took it. They are still here to this day, or at least they were until we killed them all. Some of their prisoners did not make sense, as some look military, which is impossible, leaving fellow gunners the only option. It just serves as another example of how similar they really are. We don't know what happened to Bonnie, whether she made it out or whether her goal was ever achieved. We do know that Wayne and the boys were driven from their homes, and it's likely they were either killed or injured. Just another tragic story of a separated family that never got to be reunited. The tale of an old hospital and one of the women who worked there. I hope you liked this look at all of it. If you did like it, give the video a like, and if you want regular updates, subscribe. Any suggestions for lore or future videos should be left in the comments below. Better yet, go onto my subreddit so we can discuss them in more detail. It's linked in the description. If you wish to, you can support me on Patreon. £1 or $1, I ask for no more. Any rewards you would like to see there, message me and I will do my best. Follow me on Twitter or Facebook to get regular updates, or have a wee chat. Any business you wish to discuss, email me at thenthapple.business@gmail.com, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. And until then, goodbye.